Good day everyone, my name is Shaka Quezon from BIT2 FSMB and my topic is Rizal's lives when he was in Leipzig and Dresden. On August 9, 1886, 3 days after the 5th centenary of University of Heidelberg, Rizal left the city. He boarded a train and visited various cities of Germany until arriving in Leipzig on August 14, 1886. He attended some lectures in the University of Leipzig and befriended with Professor Friedrich Ratzel, a famous German historian, and Dr. Hans Meyer, German anthropologist. Part of his activities in this city was attendance at the lectures given by German professor in history and psychology. And during his studies in Europe, Rizal had the opportunity to learn the story of Wilhelm Tell, because seeing parallels between the struggles of the Swiss and Filipino, he translated this play by Friedrich Schiller into Filipino. Hence, it came to be the first great Philippine novel that was written in Spanish, printed in German, and partly influenced by a Swiss dramatist. And also, Jose Rizal completed translating 5 Andersen's fairy tales from German translations and sent to Philippines as a gift to his nephews and nieces so that they would know the children in Europe read. And the cost of living in Leipzig is the cheapest in Europe, so he stayed there for 2 months and a half, and during his stay, he corrected some chapters in his second novel and also had time for exercise. He also worked as a proofreader in a publishing firm and earning some money. Rizal left Leipzig to set course on Dresden on October 29, 1886. At Dresden, Rizal met Dr. Adolf Meyer, the director of Anthropological and Ethnological Museum. He stayed only 2 days in the city, and he heard the Holy Mass in a Catholic church, which greatly impressed him. For the wrote, "Truly, I have never in my life heard a mass whose music had greater sublimity and intonations." And in the morning of November 1, Rizal left Dresden by train, reaching Berlin in the evening. Next is Rizal life in Berlin. Rizal liked Berlin because of its atmosphere, which was very scientific, and the absence of race prejudice. Also, here he met Dr. Fyodor Jagor, author of Travel in the Philippines, a book that Rizal admired because of its keen observance in the Philippine setting. Dr. Jagor, in turn, introduced Rizal to Dr. Rudolf Virchow, a famous anthropologist, and to his son, Dr. Hans Virchow, professor of descriptive anatomy, and Dr. W. Chowest, a German geographer, and Rizal worked in the clinic of Dr. Karl Ernest Squischer, a famous German ophthalmologist. Rizal was the first Asian to be accorded with honors for being member of the Anthropological Society, the Ethnological Society, and Geographical Society of Berlin. Dr. Virchow recognized Rizal's genius, so he invited him to give lecture before the Ethnographic Society of Berlin. Rizal wrote scholarly paper entitled Taglish Verkunst, or the Tagalog Metrical Art, which elicited favorable comments from all scientific quarters. Rizal stayed in Berlin, capital of Germany, to gain further knowledge of ophthalmology, to attend some lectures and observe economic and political conditions in German, to further his studies of science and languages, to get familiar with scenic Germany, to be part of scientific community, and to finish his novel No Limitang Hre. Rizal led a methodological life in Berlin. He worked as an assistant by day and attended lectures at night, and he kept himself physically fit by daily exercise and speaking German, French, and Italian. Rizal also took private lessons in the French language under Madame Lucie Cardol in order to master French languages. Next is Unter den Linden Boulevard, as seen during Rizal's times. Rizal had frequent in Unter den Linden because there were several coffee houses and bars, and in this wide avenue where he could read newspaper. And lastly is one of the important letters written while he was in Germany, and it was addressed to his sister Trinidad, dated March 11, 1886. In this letter, Rizal expressed his high regard and admirations for German womanhood. The German woman said Rizal to his sister is serious, diligent, and educated, and friendly. She is not gossipy, frivolous, and quarrelsome like Spanish women. She is not particular about beautiful dresses and expensive jewelry, though she could dress nicely like any other woman in the world. Rizal regret that in the Philippines, the women are more interested in how they dress than in how much they know. He praised, he praised the delicacy of feeling, the fine manners, devotions, and the hospitality of the Filipino women, especially those in province who are not sophisticated. And that's all.
And on August 6, 1886, the famous University of Heidelberg held its fifth centenary celebration, and the meaning of ophthalmologist means Rizal life, which is he became an ophthalmologist because of a deep for his mother, which is his suffering motherland was under an abusive and oppressive, oppressive foreign power, and through sweetened work he hoped to open eyeball. Then the countrymen, the Spanish of authorities that by the University of Santo Tomas Press in 1886. The author was Rufino Baltazar, and the last is he Hernandez. Hernandez, she's a native of Santa Cruz, Laguna, and on August 6, 1886, the famous University of Heidelberg held its fifth centenary celebration, and the meaning of ophthalmologist means Rizal life, which is he became an ophthalmologist because of a deep for his mother, which is his suffering motherland was under an abusive and oppressive foreign power, and through sweetened work he hoped to open eyeball. Then the countrymen, the Spanish of authorities that thank. My name is Jessamine. Good morning, ma'am. My name is Jessamine Montoyo from BAT 2A FSMB. For today's video, I will report that my topic is all about the Paris to Berlin in the year of 1885 to 1887. Rizal went to Paris and Germany in order to specialize in ophthalmology. Rizal chose this branch of medicine because he wanted to cure his mother of ailment. In Gay Paris, in 1885 to 1887, Maximo Viola isa siyang medical na estudyante at saka isang miyembro ng mayamang pamilya sa San Miguel at siya ay isang kaibigan ni Rizal. Senyor Eusebio Corominas, isang editor ng newspaper in la Publicidad and made at saka yung ginamit niya dito ay isang crayon sketch of Don Miguel Moraita. Is the owner of La Publicidad and Statesman. Rizal gave editor Corominas article and on the Caroline's questions, then a controversial issue for publication. Next number, November 1885. November, the year of 1885 to 1887, Rizal was living in Paris, wherein sojourned for about for about for for about the month. Dr. Louis D. Record on 1852-1906 is a leading French ophthalmologist in Rizal, worked as an assistant from November 1885 to February 1886. Paspardo de Tavera naman po ay isang magandang babae. She's engaged to she's engaged to one Luna. At the studio of Luna, Rizal spent many happy hours. Rizal helped Luna by posing as a model or in a several painting. In Luna's canvas, The Death of Cleopatra, Rizal posed, Rizal posed an Egyptian priest in another in another of Luna's great painting, The Blood of Compact. He posted as a Sikatuna with Trinidad Pardo, de Tavera taking the role of Legazpi. In November 27, 1878 ay Rizal told Enrique Leti that the learn the solfeggio, the piano, and the voice culture in the month and a half. By sheer determination and constant practice, Rizal came to play the flute fairly well. Fairly well, he was a flutist. In various impromptu reunions, reunions of Filipino in Paris, Alinmang Lahi or Any Race, a patriotic song written which is by asserts that any race aspires for freedom. The, the next, La Deportation, a sad dancer which is Rizal, composed in Dapitan during his exile. In, in historic Heidelberg, in February 1, 1886, Rizal re- reluctantly left Gay Paris, Germany. Then, in February 3 naman po, noong 1886, Rizal arrived in Heidelberg, a historic city in Germany, famous for its old university and the romantic surrounding. Chess Players a club rooted in the student made Rizal as a member because of being a good chess player. So siyang magaling na manlalaro. Dr. Otto Becker distinguished Germany ophthalmologist Rizal work, university and hospital. At doon nagtrabaho si Rizal sa University I. Then, on April 22, 1886, Rizal has wrote a fine poem, Alaskinas de Heidelberg to the flower Heidelberg in the spring of 1886. Rizal was fascinated by the blooming flower along the cold bank of the Neckar River. Among them was the light blue forget-me-not. Then Wilhelmsfield, a mountainous village near Heidelberg, where Rizal spent a 3-month summer vacation. Sa mountainous village near Heidelberg, si Rizal po ay nag-stay, nag-spend siya doon ng 3 months summer vacation. Then Dr. Carl Ulmer is a kind of Protestant pastor, isa siyang pastor, wherein Rizal State, he became a good friend, isa siyang mabuting kaibigan and Rizal admire her. And June 25 naman, on 1886, Rizal was wrote marching to Friedrich or Fritz, son of Pastor Ulmer. On June 31, 1886, Rizal wrote his first letter in German, which is he had.
Good day everyone, I'm Angeline Camacho from BIT 2A FSMA. Our lesson for today is in sunny Spain 1882 to 1885. After finishing the fourth year of medical courses in the University of Santo Tomas, Rizal decided to complete his study in Spain. Aside from completing his study in Spain, Rizal has secret mission was to observe kindly and life and culture, languages and customs, industrial and commerce, the government and law of the European nation, in order to prepare himself in the mighty task of liberating his oppressed people from Spanish tyranny. The Rizalian secret mission was likewise disclosed by Paciano in his letter to his young brother. Dated Maynila, May 20, 1892, Rizal's departure from Spain was kept secret to avoid detection by the Spanish authorities and the peers. Jose Mercado Rizal used this name Acasin from Binyan, May 3, 1882. Rizal departure on board the Spanish steamer Salvador bound for Singapore. Guys, pagkatapos sa ika-4 na taon ng kursong medical ni Rizal sa University of Santo Tomas, nagpasya si Rizal at tapusin ang kanyang pag-aaral sa Espanya. Bukod sa pagtatapos ng kanyang pag-aaral sa Espanya, si Rizal ay may kanyang lihim, katulad ng kultura, wika at kaugaliang industrial at komersyo, pagmamahala at mga batas ng bansang Europea upang makapaghanda ng mga kanyang sarili ng pangapangyarihang gawain sa pagpapalaya ng kanyang mga Ang pag-alis si Rizal patungong Espanya ay inilihim upang maiwasang matuklasan ng mga otoridad ng Espanya at ang mga praile. Donato Leca, the ship captain from Astoria, Spain, befriended Rizal. Rizal described him as an affable man, much more refined than his other countrymen and colleagues that I have met. From Singapore to Colombo. In Singapore, Rizal transferred to another ship, a French steamer, which left Singapore. Rizal writes on his travel diary, the general appearance of Point Gale is picturesque, but lonely and quiet and at the same time sad. Barcelona. Rizal, first impression of Barcelona, the greatest city of Catalonia and Spain's second largest city, was unfavorable. Las Ramblas, the most famous street in Barcelona. Amor Patrio, love of the country, nationalistic essay, Rizal first article written on Spain's soil. Under his pen name, Laong Laan, appeared in print diarong Tagalog on August 20, 1880. Dona Leca, ang kapitan ng barko mula sa Astoria, Spain, ay nakipagkaibigan kay Rizal. Mula Singapore hanggang Colombo, sa Singapore lumipat si Rizal sa isa pang barko. Isang pabor ng France na umalis sa Singapore para isulat ni Rizal ang kanyang taalarawan sa paglalakbay. Ang pangkalahatang itsura ng Point Gale ay kaakit-akit, ngunit malungkot at tahimik. Barcelona. Ang unang impresyon ni Rizal sa Barcelona, ang pinakadakilang lungsod ng Catalonia, ang pangalawang pinakamalaking lungsod ng Espanya, ay hindi kanais-nais. Las Ramblas, ang pinakatanyag Barcelona. Amor Patrio. Sa pag-ibig ng bansa, makabansang saysayan, ang unang artikulo ni Rizal na isinulat sa lupa ng Espanya.
My name is Regis Sagat from BIT 2A FSMB. Now we are going to discuss about myth and fact about Rizal. Jose Protasio Mercado Rizal Alonso Irialonda, the Philippines national hero, the pride of Malayan race, was born in a village of Calamba, Laguna on June 19, 1861. He was the seventh of 11 children in the family, 2 boys and 9 girls. Both his parents will be educated and came from well-known as family. Francisco Mercado Rizal is the hard-working farmer who referred to as a model of dads. Was born in Binian, Laguna, in Teodoro Alonso E. Quintos, a highly cultured and compassionate woman who Rizal referred to as a loving and continuous mother. He was 3 years old and at the age of living while learning to read and write. He already shows sign wanting to be an artist. His pencil in drawing, sketching, as well as his clay modeling, surprising his family and relations. He famed as sa aking mga kababata. A Tagalog poetry about the love of one language when was 8 years old. He graduated from Ateneo Municipal de Manila with a Bachelor of Arts degree with a average of outstanding in 1877. When he was 16 years old, at the same year, he began students in philosophy and letters at the University of Santo Tomas while pursuing survivor expert assessor course at Ateneo. He completed the letters course on March 21, 1877. He passed the surveyor test on the May 21, 1878. Nevertheless, the was not allow a license to practice to his age, which was 17 at the time. Until December 30, 1891, he was able to practice his professions. In 1878, he enrolled at the University of Santo Tomas to study medicine but had dropped out because he through the Dominican tutor were discriminating against the Filipino students. He traveled to Spain May 3, 1882 to pursue this studies in Universal Central de Madrid. He received the license in medicine on June 21, 1884. At the age of 23, he coursed to philosophy and letters to June 19, 1885. At the age of 24 with the excellence grade, he had traveled extensively in Europe, America, Asia, and mastered 22 languages. He was a skilled swordman, Rizal, the greatest apostle of the Filipinos national authorities, varies with the highly periodic and revolution impulses with Europe with the hope of winning political and social reforms for homeland while also educating compatriots. His darling novel, No Limit ang Here, as satirical or impulsive in arrogance and discursive of the Spanish clergy, was published in Merlin in March 1887. In 1890, he was reprinted the Paris Morga, Success Las Islands, Filipinas, with his annotation to prove the Filipinos as a civilization worth of being proud of even long before the Spaniards set foot Philippine soil on September 18, 1981. El Polibiceris was the second novels and successful. No Limit ang Here is published in England. He was more representative in The Sad and the Letter. When was the Philippine Revolution began? On August 26, 1996, OS wasted no time to putting pressure on him. They were able to collect writings and connected him to phrasing. These weaknesses were never allowed to control him. As a result, he was sent to Santiago again from November 3, 1986, till the date of his execution in his prison cell. He wrote a name poem known as the Ultimo Adios, regarded as the masterpiece of living documentals bearing not only the hero but all Filipinos' profound love in their homeland. He was found guilty of the insurrections, sedition, and creating an illegal association after mock trial. Rizal, a man whose 35 years of life had been claimed with a different experience, died on the frigid morning of December 13, 1896. Bagumbayan Field was the site of that demonstration. The Filipinos can watch, if not outperform, those who regard him as a self-stone.
Ang Diaryong Tagalog ay isang mapang-ahas na pahayagan sa Manila at nagtala ito ng mga artikulo ni Rizal at ito rin ang kauna-unahang dyaryo na bilingguan. Nakapalaman dito ang mga pagmamalabis at pang-aabuso ng mga Espanyol sa kanilang pinamumunuan. Nilagay ng mga tagapagsulat ang kanilang saloobin hingil sa pagtrato ng mga Espanyol sa bawat Pilipino at sa pagtingin ng mga ito. The first written by Rizal is the Amor Patrio, ang Love of Country. Isinulat niya ito sa Barcelona. And he used a name, Laong-Laan, and he sent to his friend in Manila. His name is Basilio Chidoro Moran, ang tagapaglimbag ng Love of Country. Ito nga yung pinagsendan pinadahan ni Rizal sa kanya. Basilio likes Rizal's written and Marcelo H. Del Pilar was translate it into Tagalog, and so decide na alokin pa si Rizal na gumawa ng mga o iba pang mga artikulo. Ang pangalawang artikulo ni Rizal ay ang Los Viajes or ang Travel, and his third article was entitled Revista de Madrid, and this is the last article wrote by Rizal noong November 29, 1882, at hindi na ito nailimbag. Sa halip ay ibinalik dahil nga nawala na ng pondo ang Diaryong Tagalog. While he was at Barcelona, si Rizal ay nakatanggap ng masamang balita tungkol kay cholera that was ravaging Manila and the provinces na naging dahilan ng pagkasawi ng maraming tao. At nakatanggap uli si Rizal na masamang balita galing sa Pilipinas na sinulat ni Cheng Hoy dahil si Leonor Rivera ay parang nanghihina at parang pumapayat dahil hindi nga niya nakita si Rizal. So, Pasiano, the brother of Rizal, said kailangan nang tapusin ni Rizal ang medical course niya sa Madrid. So, yun nga, Rizal ay umalis na sa Barcelona. Okay, we will proceed to the life in Berlin. Noong November 3, 1882, si Rizal ay nag-enroll sa Universidad Central de Madrid at siya ay kumuha ng 2 kurso, Medicine at Philosophy and Letters. He also studied painting and sculpture in the Academy of Fine Arts in the San Fernando. Rizal knew that he came to Spain upang mag-aral at ihanda ang kanyang sarili sa paglilingkod to his fatherland at ginastos niya ang kanyang pera sa pagbili ng pagkain, damit, at sa kanyang matutuluyan at sa mga libro. Ginugol niya ang kanyang oras sa paglilibang, sa pagbabasa, sa pagsusulat. Prinactice niya din yung fencing, shooting sa gymnasium. Consuelo said that Rizal was not handsome, bagamat siya ay nagtataglay ng isang aura ng karesma because to his many splendor, talent at marangal na ugali na naging kaakit-akit sa romantic young woman na si Consuelo. No wonder the prettier Don Pablo's daughter, Consuelo, na to fell in love to Rizal o umiibig na ito kay Rizal. Si Rizal ay gumawa ng isang tula na pinamagatang Ala Señorita Consuelo Ortiga Y. Rey. Pero sa kabilang banda, bigla siyang parang nag-back out dahil nga siya ay engaged kay Leonor Rivera at yung kaibigan niyang si Eduardo dun sa may Kilusan ay may gusto nga kay Consuelo, kaya naman parang ayun yung naging dahilan kaya si Rizal ay parang nag-back out or umalis doon kaya hindi niya natinuloy yung paggawa ng kanyang sulat. Rizal joined to Círculo Hispano-Filipino o ang Hispano-Philippine Circle at sumulat siya ng isang tula that was entitled Ako ang Fidel Verses o They Asked Me for Verses, and reflects how sad it was for him na magkaroon ng kakayahang pangunahan ang mga damdamin sa pamagitan ng pagsusulat ng mga tula or poem, and have this emotion stifled and muted by the powerful at mapang-api ng mga Kastila. In Uncle's Tom Cabin, Harriet Beecher Stowe shared ideas tungkol sa mga kawalang katarungan ng mapang-aalipin, pushing back against dominant cultural beliefs about the physical and emotional capacities of the black people, and Stowe become a leading voice of the anti-slavery movement, and her ideas about the race were complicated.
And now I continue the discussion regarding shattering myth about Rizal and the political UST. Rizal enrolled at UST and he was 16 years old, matriculated in the University of Santo Tomas, taking the course on philosophy and letters in April 1877. On the first year, he also studies cosmology, metaphysics, theodicy, and history of philosophy. One of the main reasons why Rizal enrolled in USP is because it is what his father would have wanted for him. He was also uncertain to what career to pursue, and doon sinabay-sabay niya yung mga courses na gusto niya. So, in the 21 subject taking at UST, Rizal obtained 6 sobresaliente or excellent, 6 notable or very good, 8 bueno or good, and 1 aprobado or passing grade. It is not excellent. So most of the students in Rizal's time were satisfied with their grades. Possibly Rizal did not, but it is a fact that he did not complain about his grades. There is not a single word in his works that shows displeasure at the unfairness of UST. But many of his biographers are angry at the treatment given to the national hero by his alma mater, because Rizal known to have perfect marks in high school at the Ateneo. When he studied at UST, he got not excellent grade. Rizal's stay at UST was not meaningful. He found the atmosphere at UST suffocation to his sensitive spirit. He was unhappy of the Dominican institution of higher learning kasi nga discriminative yung mga Dominican against sa mga Pilipino. His professor was hostile to him. The method of teaching was different from the brilliant method at Ateneo. So para sa kanya, obsolete and repressive, parang masyadong traditional yung educational system sa UST kung ikukumpara sa Ateneo. And prejudice and racial discrimination was prevalent. Rizal criticized the humiliating treatment of brown Filipinos by the Dominican mentor, favoritism, and skin color. It was the first time which Rizal witnessed the friars doing discrimination. After completing his medical school, he decided to leave the country for Europe because he was not happy and can no longer contain the hatred and discrimination towards the Spanish students and teachers. He went to Europe to continue his studies at the University of Madrid.
He showed their similar characteristic. He got sobresaliente or excellent in the humanistic studies, while in medicine he fared worse than at the UST, and no one to his biographers has ever complained about his poor performance in Madrid, or hinted that Rizal was discriminated against in that central university. Rizal had Dominican friends in the persons of Father Evaristo Arias and Father Joaquin Fonseca. It was while studying at UST that Rizal obtained public recognition as a poet. Father Arias, who helped him cultivated his craft in poetry. During his Tomasian years, Rizal composed the best poems of his pre-European period, one of them being A la Juventud Filipino, winner of the best prize in the contest organized by Liceo Artístico Literario in 1879.
Medical study at the University of Santo Tomas, 1877 and 1882. After finished the first year of course in philosophy and letters, in 1877 and 1878, Rizal transferred to the medical corps. Don't send him to Manila again. He knows enough in his guts to know more than Spaniards will cut off his head. Doña Tidora vigorously opposed the idea that Rizal push higher learning in the university. A Filipinas, a sonnet written by Rizal for the album Society of Sculpture. In the sonnet, is urgent at Filipino artists to glory the Philippines. D.N. Del Puso, a Spaniard writer who won the second prize. Liceo Artístico Literario Artistic Literary Lyceum of Manila of Society of Literary Men and Artistic held a literary contest in the year 1879.
Good day everyone, I'm Camila Jim Bermejo from BIT 2A FSMB. The unhappy days of Dr. Jose Rizal at the UST. He found the atmosphere at the University of Santo Tomas was suffocating to his sensitive spirit. So there's three main factors that contribute to his unhappiness at the university. The first is the Dominican professors were. The next is Filipino students is suffered in discrimination. And the last is the method of instruction at UST was absolute and repressive. So he failed to win his scholarly honors due to the attitude of his professors. The El Filibusterismo in Rizal's novel, he described how the Filipino students were humiliated and insulted by the Dominican professors and how backward and method of the instruction was, especially in the teaching of the natural sciences. Shattering the myth about Rizal and the Pontifical UST, this can be exhausted as I deal with historical fact, a process of the relationship of Jose Rizal with the University of Santo Tomas. He has indebted to Father Fidel Villarreal, the eminent historian and former archivist of the UST archives, for giving him the distinct privilege without going through the norms and policies of touring the archives and letting him examine some important documents pertaining but not principally to the history of the Philippines. Pioneering institution of learning from the martyrdom of Gomez, Burgos, and Zamora to the propaganda movement, to the revolution of 1896, to the birth of the Republic in 1898, to the Commonwealth period, and finally to the restoration of independence in 1946, it is therefore presumptuous to assume the UST has had a hand in the making of the history of instant efforts of few academicians and historians to present a more truthful history of the UST during the Spanish era. Many are still were caught off guard and instead decided to rely on meager source material. The worst is some people copied that
pre-war and post-war authors written in the past 100 years. Generations, writers, historians, and bibliographers of Jose Rizal are no exception to such historians like Retana, Craig, Russell, Lundbach, Coates, Hernandez, and Zaid, who had pictured a villain character of the university. According to Father Villarroel, none of the biographers and historians took the time of looking into the original academic records of Rizal. Neither there were efforts on their part to make a study on UST. Then, after seeing the documents at the UST archives and reading Father Villarroel written study on Rizal and the University of Santo Tomas, so there's a lot of fixers use the myth for their own good.
So hello, so tonight I will be sharing to you a short discussion regarding to myth and facts studied by Father Fidel Villarroel regarding to Rizal days in UST. So before that, let me introduce myself. I am Jana Meti Morillo from BIT 2A FSMB. So first, who is Father Fidel Villarroel? So Father Fidel Villarroel is a Spanish Dominican and historian. He is also the one who studied these myth and facts regarding to Jose Rizal's life during in UST days. So, let us first differentiate what's the difference between myth and fact. So, myth are stories based on tradition, and some may have factual origin, and while others are completely fictional, while fact is a truth and reality. So, according to the study of Father Fidel Villarroel on his myth towards Rizal, Rizal have his own reason why he left UST. So, as we all know naman, Rizal was unhappy during his days in UST because of some reasons, and these reasons are a discrimination brought by the Spanish to the Filipino students. The professors at UST was hostile to him and also to the Filipino students. So, those are the reasons why Rizal became unhappy during his stay in UST. Also, according to the study of Father Fidel Villarroel and some authors, Rizal have his own reason why he left UST. So, these reasons are because certain professors caused him displeasure because of atmosphere in the UST suffocated him, and some Spaniards are discriminated him also. And I think the reason why Rizal was unhappy during his stay in UST were also the same from the quoted of the authors. But remember, this just a myth, so walang ito kasagaraduhan or katotohanan. So those are the myths why Rizal left UST. But remember, myth is just a stories based on tradition. So meaning wala pa ito kasagaraduhan or katotohanan. So here's the fact. The fact is 20 authors quoting from the same erroneous source commit the same error 20 times over. Therefore, quoted authors have said must be submitted in scrutiny, meaning it should be done in critical observation or examination for us to conclude or say that the reasons why Rizal left the UST is correct. So this fact leads us to conclude that the writers who put the blame for Rizal's departure on University of Santo Tomas are only guessing, honestly guessing, of course, but mistakenly. And it is also said that until further historical research can project more light on the life of Rizal.